Hello, good morning. Nice to see everyone. And greetings on this gorgeous Wednesday. I see Chiara Galetti. Let us know where you're from. Chiara, are you from Italy? Who's joining us? I see Chitra. I see Vanessa. I see Jigdim, Svalbard 333, and three others. We never know who those three others are, but they're always joining us. I see Ignadu. I see Manuela. Good morning, good afternoon. Where are you joining us from? Svalbard, are you from Norway? Be a guess. I see Gerard. Sherry Lynn, good morning, good morning, good morning. Where is everyone joining us from? Let me know where you are. We have a beautiful frost here forming on the green grass, making everything just a gorgeous frosty, how can I say it, almost a diamond-like light off of all the gorgeous greens. And I know that some of you are requesting to be in our conversation box, and we'll bring some of you into that. An interesting thing to play with in the way of, let's say, a morning question, or for some of you it's an afternoon or an evening or a middle of the night question, but a question just the same, since time is relative at best, if non-existent. If we are consciousness, and we can then create whatever experience we want for ourselves. Let's create love. And I want to remind you of what we talked about last Wednesday. You can replace the word love with healing. They're interchangeable, and you'll find amazing insights. So hello, I see that we have one person joining us in the request room. You came on, I accepted you. I see your name, but I don't see your face or hear your voice yet. Hello? Hello? I see your camera is moving. Can you hear us? Are you with us? Well, and here we are. We are consciousness, and I guess consciousness is not being picked up on this camera yet. Oh, there's movement. I don't know, maybe. Oh, maybe you don't know that you've been requested. So, let me see. The trick for me to learn then is how to, if no one's there, say goodbye to this person so someone else can come on, but I don't know how to do that. So we have half a screen. We are full consciousness, but half a screen. So let's play with that one for a little bit. And I'm going to see if I can play with this anymore, but I guess they don't know that they're on. Alrighty. If someone would like to type into the comment how I can disconnect this comment box at the moment, this request to join, and return us to a full screen, do let me know. Otherwise, here we are today. If we are consciousness, and we can therefore create whatever experience we want for ourselves. Let's create love. I don't recall whose quote that is. It's a beautiful quote. And then we get to play with the word creation, because we are love. Therefore, we are creation, and we are healing. Very nice. What creates, then, let me ask you, what causes separation? What causes the illusion of duality? The appearance of narcissism. Some would say that it's that we don't or may not feel safe being authentic. Oh, here comes something from Elaine. Thank you. Click on the arrow next to your profile at the top of the screen and it will show you who is on with. No, I know who's on with me. But they don't know who's on with me, so I don't know how to let them go. Oh, wait, maybe I do. Thank you. Did I just do that? Thank you so much. What a great insight, Elaine. Absolutely appreciate you. Elaine Johns, thank you. Okay, very cool. I've heard it said that when people tend to lie a lot in your presence, and I don't really like the approach of blame or guilt that's in here. And yet at the same time, I can see that this is something to explore. When people tend to lie a lot in your presence, is there something about the way you interact or we interact with them that doesn't allow people to feel safe in telling the truth? But do we also experience separation or duality or narcissism because we don't feel safe being our authentic self? And is that something we really want to blame on anyone else? I don't think so. I don't think that guilt and blame gets us anywhere, but observation does. Observation opens the door to explore and be in recognition of who and what we are. What if, ready? What if we are here to uplift everyone and everything? Here it comes. Simply by overcoming our own interferences, our own obscurations, our own blockages. What if we are here to uplift, as it was in a discussion I heard the other night, to uplift the collective simply by overcoming our own blockages. We look at how are we going to uplift? What are we going to do? No, maybe it's just overcoming what we are not allowing ourselves to see, to experience, to be. What if there's nothing to do? What if there's nothing to do? What if we release everything, even our intense focus on what we need to do to manifest? I love the fireworks, by the way. What if we let go of even our attempt to manifest and instead melt into what is? Isn't what we're looking to manifest really what is anyway? And then as we change the way we see ourselves, we change the way, well, everyone sees us differently. Because changing the way that we see ourselves, we are in presence in a different way. And in that different presence, everyone sees us differently because we are seeing ourselves differently. And everything that we've been thinking that we want to manifest, thinking that we want, may or may not come about. But what we really do want, we only want because we already know it and we're not seeing it. So what happens is then we allow ourselves to exhibit the manifestation that we are. Renee Sugar says, we are given to each other for mutual aid, which leads to sharing. The healing is in the sharing. Chelsea speaks about things that are so close to us, we don't see it, so we seek them further and further away. So as we melt into who we are, as we accept, as the facade melts away, we are present as the full integration, the full expression of that which is. Isn't that what we've been looking for anyway? Breathe in. Breathe out. It's not that we're not breathing anyway, but sometimes it's just nice to be in a moment's observation of breathing. Little breath in, little breath out. Be in the observation of the breathing. Vanessa, let me see if I'm following what you've written here. You say, it depends on what is. Everything is. That's right. Everything is. As we choose what we want to manifest, because everything exists in different dimensions. Dimensions is such an interesting subjective word. Everything exists as we allow ourselves to see it. And then sometimes we decide if we don't see it here and we do see it there, it must be somewhere else in a different dimension, until we recognize that there is no else. There's no else. Elsing is like othering. There's no other. There's no someone else. There's no someplace else. There's simply what we allow ourselves to recognize, which is that which is who and what we are. Does the reconnection help us love ourselves more? Why don't we view that from the perspective of, does it allow us to recognize the love that we are? Vanessa writes, yes, so if we see it, if we dream it, it can exist. Everything we see, everything we dream exists. We just sort of get confused deciding whether it exists or not, deciding whether we have it or not, deciding whether we allow ourselves to see it. And then we look at how. And we start working from the outside, putting on our spiritual clothing. Allowing the spiritual ego to start to take over, which really does the opposite of what we might think or desire it to do. You know, the more I'm dressed more spiritually than you are, well, then that's actually bringing about further and further separation. It's allowing us to feel separate and above other people who are spiritual. It brings us into a different kind of a duality. It's really the same ego that chooses to dress in high fashion. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with high fashion. I like to dress in fashion. But I will say, quite candidly, I hadn't given it the thought at the time that I was very invested in dressing in fashion that I am now. Is that the same ego that wants us to dress up in our super spiritual deerskin clothes with our very bestest of the bestest crystals with the right, colors over the right chakras on the perfect cloth? I mean, is that a form of superiority and separation? What about the person who chooses to meditate, 712 hours a day as if there were that? Is that a form of separation and a superiority? I can meditate more and longer than you. Is it a removal or a separation of ourselves from everyone and everything? Do we need to separate that way? Do we need to find a quiet boulder on a mountaintop to sit upon and meditate? Sort of that same concept of going to the beach and looking for the most quiet place instead of realizing that you are the quiet place, wherever you are. You can meditate at the noisiest, most crowded place on the beach and simply allow sound to dissolve. Sound is a choice. It's like listening to a dripping water faucet at night or allowing the sound to fall into the background. I chose to meditate for a little bit yesterday, and the washer and the dryer was going in the next room. I heard it. I acknowledged it. I recognized the rhythmic spinning and the occasional out of rhythmic and then the back into the rhythmic once again, and allowed it to disappear into the tapestry of the background. Because having it disrupt is a choice. Well, I can't help it. It's a disruption. It's all I can focus on. That's your choice. It's still a part of the background tapestry of life. The curtain behind me is part of a background tapestry. You may choose to focus on it. You may choose to focus on the flowers behind me. But it's a choice. Absolutely a choice. Ali Hassan says, comparison leads to judgment, and judgment is wasting energy. Thank you, Ali. That is beautiful. Comparison leads to judgment, and judgment is a waste of energy. Vanessa asks, why do we feel the need to fit into a role? It feels safe. There's a security in feeling that we know everything, when really the freedom is in the willingness to allow ourselves that centered presence of not knowing. It reminds me of when I was a kid and I'd go down to the beach and to the ocean, and I'd float on my back, and I could see the boardwalk and which hotel I was in front of, and then I'd close my eyes and float on my back for as long as I could and tried to guess where I would be when I opened my eyes, what part of the beach, which hotel I would be in front of or something. It's a choice. Needing to know becomes a bit of a constriction. So take a little breath in, let it out. Sound is definitely a choice. Listen, you're breathing. You may choose to listen to the sound of your breath or choose to allow it to fall into the background. Your heart is beating. You may choose to listen to your heartbeat. You may choose to have the sound of your breath or your heartbeat be a distraction to you, or release it, or let it go. Let it go. You may choose to walk down the busy streets in the middle of Manhattan and be in peace and recognize that the light that you are is the light for everyone and everything right there. While car horns are honking as people are trying to cross the streets, let go. We don't need to try to fix our settings. We don't need to try to fix anything. The attempt to optimize is sometimes it's the ego. It's the ego that attempts to You could almost say treat or fix a situation. In healing, we attempt to do that a lot. We decide that we're going to redirect chakra spins or energy flow. And these attempts to redirect, no matter from what sources or people or decades or centuries we've been taught, should flow in this direction or spin in that direction, it is still the ego of treatment that feels more secure in knowing the answers and putting things into boxes. It is thinking instead of allowing ourselves to be in knowingness and observation. Receive. Be. Remembering to laugh says, surrender is saying, I don't know. The surrender is the willingness to say, I don't know. That is so beautiful. Now, I'm noticing a little side conversation about, are you in pain and would you like me to remove the pain in a couple of minutes on a phone call? Before we jump to remove pain, and it's very human, it's a very loving desire. No one wants to see anyone suffering. But let's evaluate what's happening. And of course, there are extremes that need to be looked at. Pain, to a degree, is nature's way of telling you that something might be a little off. And in the natural communication of the body, what is pain? So let's say, Sally, that you had a surgery and the area of your body is sending signals up to your brain that we register as pain. And the brain is saying, okay, there's pain down there. Going to redirect some healing nutrients. We're going to change the way the blood flows, which may cause discoloration. There may be some swelling in that area, which is actually not necessarily negative because it's often bringing new healing nutrients there to help. There's a whole process going on, and it's going on because your brain and body are communicating at that level. So lovely as it may be, Ali, to just take the pain off within a few minutes, I don't know that we want to focus on removing the pain. At least not through any or every means. When we remove the pain through drugs, for example, we remove pain through electric stimulators and ultrasound and other things, we may be short-circuiting that communication. So the body is still calling up to the brain saying, help me, help me, help me. There's damage down here. And instead of allowing the brain then to say, okay, we want to rebalance the flow and movement of things in the body, accordingly, to help the healing process, the brain just stops hearing and then the process alters. Now, facilitating a healing returns the body to balance. In that, balance. There may no longer be a function for the pain. There's a distinction here, so listen. In the return to balance, wholeness, healing, there may be a great, then therefore decrease or no more real reason for that pain communication. And if it releases because of the healing, that's wonderful. But let's start by recognizing that the purpose of healing is not to remove pain. Pain serves a focus. Healing is its own reward and should then, as a byproduct of wonderful healing, the pain is no longer present. That's very different. It's sort of like taking the difference between taking a job because it pays well, and that's what you end up doing for your life, or moving into a career because you love it and as a gorgeous byproduct. By the way, there's wonderful abundance and prosperity brought into your life. So before we start thinking about healing as pain removal, before we start thinking of careers as the main goal is simply for bringing in money, what is really the gift? The healing is its own reward, and therefore, as a byproduct, the discomfort may leave. Okay? So Sally, you're already in healing. That's wonderful. And I think that we can all sort of look at this and say, yeah, this is the gift of healing. Now, some people who don't always see it that way sometimes question healing. Well, if we're facilitating our healing, are we interfering with someone's karma? No, definitely not. Because healing is that which is. The overall great intelligence knows the perfect balance. Again, it's not taking an aspirin. And again, it's not that you get brownie points for being in fair financial exchange for healing or not. The fact is that for many people, for many people who facilitate healings, allowing the person the client who comes for the healing to be in a fair financial exchange for the healing is giving them the gift of feeling in balance, a worthiness in exchange to receive the healing. Sometimes when we don't allow people to be in a fair financial exchange for healings, it can make people feel out of balance and not fully allowing them to accept the healing itself. So we have to realize that for healing facilitators, there's a role of being in fair financial exchange. There, again, it's the reason, it's the thought process. Why? Is it to remove pain, or is it to bring about healing? And pain removal is a byproduct of something larger. Fair financial exchange, we're viewing it selfishly as this will bring me money, or we're realizing that as a healing facilitator, your willingness to accept money to be in fair financial exchange for healing is for the other person. It allows them to feel in balance and receive. So play with that a little bit. Breathe in and let it go. So yes, pain is often a resistance. Allowing for the flow releases that. Sometimes the discussion of the relationship of pain and the concept of healing may be more for the healing facilitator than for the client. Even keeping a conversation focused on pain keeps it focused on a byproduct or in that which is not desired. So the release of the focus, the attention, and the conversation on pain is the release of the pain itself. Onazaldi. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. It looks like Ona Zoldi says, hello, how can we receive? So, how can you not receive? You can't not receive. You are reception. You are receivership. You're not even the receiver or what is received. You're not the believer or the believed. You're not the, the observer or the observed. You are observation itself. You are reception itself. That's who and what we are. Listening is receiving. Feeling is listening, receiving with a different sense. It's being, it's love, it's heart. What we're asking is not so much as how we can receive as how we can recognize that we are receivership. There's a wisdom we move into when we take the attention off of ourselves, whether we're sending a healing or trying to relieve someone else's pain or letting go of the pain or how we can receive. Gabby Kovalenko says we can tap into wisdom more as we allow ourselves to forget about ourselves. So, Ona, what I would say is when we're not sure where to begin, we've already started. How can I receive? The fact that you're asking is what you've already started, but it's not that you started receiving. It's that the question begins an unveiling, a revealing of who and what you are as receivership, as love, as being, as healing. And in that, there's no focus on symptoms or discomfort or end results or manifesting or how do we bring about a certain kind of a change. These are lovely concepts of mind. But you see, your beingness is an expression of love, of being, of everyone and everything. So how can you receive? You receive the presence of everyone and everything, whether you're sitting in a taxi cab, you receive air, oxygen when you breathe, and we don't ask how, because there's no doing to this. It's simply the being of who and what you are. Yes, it is removing of the focus. I know we're going about today a little differently than we normally do. We're looking at the comments and sharing and answering and discussing, but I kind of love that. Hope you do. The light seer says, I keep observing myself waiting for something to happen. If we are waiting, might that mean we have left observation? Because now we are in an attached looking for something. Observation is without specific direction. So Ali, let's observe let's observe the presence of people. Instead of the cerebral mind, the personality that wants to take credit for going, we're going to move into alpha, or beta, delta, or theta, and it's easier for this and it's easier for that. We are back now to controlling, directing. The ego that says spin the chakras this way, change the energy the other way. We get a lot of agreement from different approaches. There'll be even research to support these approaches. And if science knows everything today, that research is wonderful. But just remember, nothing really can be proven, only disproven. Because once something has been disproven, then that means what? About the proof that was yesterday, when it's disproven tomorrow, means it was never proven in the first place. So, as Joe Dispenza might say, let's not wait for science to prove things before we move forward with the knowingness that we have. It's nice to recognize what science feels or believes it has found along the way. But if we wait for science to prove everything, or if we don't accept it until science has established it, or if we accept everything blindly because science thinks that way a certain day, we have to be careful that we're not turning science into the new religion. I don't think you really want that to happen. There's a knowingness that is, and that's what inspires science to learn more and more about it every single day. Renee Sugar 7 says, become empty and open, then you will be ready to receive. Wow. What part of us doesn't want to become empty and open? What part of us resists allowing ourselves to be empty and open? What some would call the personality or the ego, the need to be right, the need to know more than someone else, the positioning. Sally, thank you for sharing with us that it's already ongoing constantly. So right. Absolutely. So right, Ali, let's allow ourselves to not be waiting, to not need to be knowing, to share the discussion of what science believes it has found as possibilities of interesting conversation. Let's not necessarily attach to them. Don't send, receive. Thank you for allowing me and all of us to receive each other today here with so much love. I really enjoyed this morning. And for those of you who may be joining us for the first time, just a reminder, we are here every Wednesday. So every Wednesday, we are here at 9:45 a.m. Chicago time, 7:45 a.m. Los Angeles or California time, 10:45 a.m. New York time. So come join us where we just simply chat, explore, share, breathe, receive, even if we're not sure we know how. Thank you. See you all there. And also, every Wednesday after this, about half an hour after this, today it'll be about 25 minutes from now, come join us at the Reconnective Life Community, the RLC. I'm sure there's a link to it down below. If not, go onto thereconnection.com and look for RLC, Reconnective Life Community. Just go to the homepage at thereconnection.com, scroll all the way down, and there it is. Click on Come Join Us. We will be discussing each Wednesday different parts and aspects of the book Solomon Speaks on Reconnecting Your Life. You don't have to have read it. You might choose to come in, join us. It's all different parts of it, so it does not need to be in a linear fashion. You don't wait for the next cycle around. Come join us now and today. We'll chat and we'll share some more. See you all there. Lots of love, and looking forward to seeing some of you who are coming. I believe it's in February. You'll also have to look on reconnectiveacademy.com or thereconnection.com in case Chelsea or someone wants to input the date. But in February, I believe we are having the next Reconnective Healing training program, the Catalyst, and it will be in San Diego, California. All righty. So see you all then, and see you maybe in about 25 minutes. Bye for now.